Again, my name is Maurice. I mentioned to you all earlier that I work at Anza College, and I work in the Umoja community. And I work specifically, excuse me, I work specifically in the SSRS program at Anza. And the SSRS program is a learning community, which represents four different communities. There is Puente for the Latinx community. There is AAPI for the Asian American Pacific Islander community. There is FYE for the undocumented first year students. And then there is a Umoja community. And I represent the African American, African ancestry community. The objectives today is a brief introduction to the SSRS program at Anza, and I want you all to learn and become a little bit more familiar of the Umoja learning community. But before I begin, I feel like it's important to offer you all a little bit of my background about myself, where I was born and raised, and what essentially influenced me to go back to school. I'm from San Francisco, California. I'm from Bayview, Hunters Point, San Francisco. If you all know where Bayview, Hunters Point is in San Francisco, just imagine being at the Chase Center, the new San Francisco Golden State Warriors Stadium, and about a mile south is where you will find Bayview, Hunters Point, and this is where I was born and raised. And just to give a little background on my community, it was a tough community. There was a high murder rate. I feel like there are probably more individuals with criminal backgrounds and records than there are, with degrees, college degrees and masters. And I was fortunate to kind of, overcome the barriers and circumstances and, be on the other side of the coin and be an individual that has my master's degree. As I mentioned earlier, I just recently graduated. And with that, I just wanted to let you all know that the picture on the left of me standing in front of the vehicle, I was a lot younger. I was a different individual. I worked and I went to school because my parents encouraged me to. However, I wasn't a successful student at this age. I think I was more worried about kind of like fitting in my community. I always worked because I never wanted to disappoint my parents, but I think I could have did a lot better in school at that age. I like to share with students how far I've come. I had some F's, I had some C's, and I had some W's. And I was like within 2 stints of me trying to go to my attempts at community college. And to the right of me is when I graduated with my bachelor's from San Francisco State in 2017. And the reason why I felt like it was important for me to give you a little context to my story is because I really do believe in the Umoja programs throughout the California community college systems. When I first attended, the first 2 times that I attended City College, I thought I wasn't smart enough because I was producing those F's, C's, and W's and just wasn't into it. I felt like I was only doing it to satisfy my parents. And then it came a point where I got my job for the San Francisco Unified School District. And I so happened to get the job at my former middle school. And the former dean still worked there. And she saw the work that I was doing. And she was like, Maurice, you're really good at this. You need to go back to school. You have a lot to offer. And I kind of, politely shunned her like, no, I don't think I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, because I wanted to become a fireman or a police officer. And that didn't work out. But eventually, one of my good friends ended up graduating from San Francisco State and getting his master's in community college, in counseling at the community college. And he had been encouraging me to go to school, and I was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna figure something else out. And he told me he looked at my information, and he was like, hey, I can get your roadmap. If you don't trust me, I'll hook you up with the Umoja counselor. And he did so. And from there, I was fortunate to find a community as an older student. And I took school a little bit more seriously because I had my buddy guiding me, and I had the Umoja counselor guiding me too along the way. And I feel like I am Umoja. You know, there's a need for the work that I do. Um, these colleges, they need spaces for Black students to feel welcome. And in addition to that, they need a comforting individual, you know, in those spaces. They need someone, you know, with patience, with understanding, relatable, someone who's empathetic, but someone who knows this journey on how hard how challenging school can be sometimes. So I felt like I just needed to give you all a brief introduction on me, what influenced me to go back to school, and why I'm so passionate about the Umoja community. I had an icebreaker for the parents, just to kind of, you know, so I won't feel like I'm the only one who's talking, but I don't know if you all want to participate in it. But I wanted to yeah, okay, cool. Can you all tell me about your first experience or introduction to college? And I'll give you an example. For myself, I remember being a part of a summer school program at San Francisco State, and I was in the 5th grade. And my buddies and I, we used to go to that program in the summer, and we went for about 3 years straight until we became too cool for the program. Um, in addition to that, I remember being younger and watching Different World. It was a show that raised me. I don't know if you all are familiar with that, but and just to see the lens of like a historic Black college, you know. So that was my first introductions of anything knowing about college. So I just wanted to give you all an example. If you all like to share, you're all welcome to. If not, I understand.
I can let you know. So my dad went to Fresno State back when it was Fresno City College. And he actually was the first person in his family to graduate from college. His parent, I don't know that his mom ever went to school. His dad was a butcher at Safeway. Okay. And made it to about 5th grade. But very comfortable middle class experience in the valley there. But I can remember looking at his yearbook as a really young child. I don't remember what age it was, but it was just looking at the yearbook and kind of seeing what college was. And to be honest, it was always an expectation in our family. You know, there was never a question like, you know, are you going to go to college? It's which college are you going to, kind of thing, right? So you know, I was that first generation. I have 2 older brothers who definitely, there was no question about it. It was like, you guys are going. So and I still find myself in education. So here I am.
I'll share. This is Letitia. I'm still driving. Um, I am a Central Valley kid myself. I'm born and raised in Fresno. And so in my household, my parents, my father, both my parents are graduates of Fresno State University as well. And so in their house, it was no question about going to college. You were going. Again, it was which one. I had in high school, because we relocated to the Bay Area, I had an opportunity through my father's fraternity to attend UC Berkeley and it was called the Alpha Phi Alpha, go to high school, go to college program. So we got to spend, you know, a few days with some of the alphas and see what their classes were like. And at that point, you know, I was like, okay, Berkeley's out because I didn't want to be lectured to in these big lecture halls. So I gravitated towards the HBCUs, and that's where I ended up.
Nice. Nice. Thank you for sharing. All right. So what is SSRS? So SSRS stands for Student Success and Retention Services, and we provide academic enrichment and support services for underserved and underrepresented students and first-gen students. Again, I mentioned the other 3 learning communities are Puente for the Latinx, AAPI for the Asian American Pacific Islanders, and FYE for first year experienced students, and myself, the Umoja community. And what is the Umoja? I'm sure we're all wondering if some haven't heard of it. Umoja first stands for, it's a Swahili word meaning unity, and it's essentially based on an African-centered philosophy that enables students to see themselves with the positive historical, cultural content. The program was developed to promote transferring and increasing academic and personal success. The Umoja program aims to address students' needs through supportive services and curriculum that is based on literature across the African and African-American diaspora. And to give you a little bit more about Umoja, Umoja was first established around 2006, and it initially functioned as a volunteer organization. It wasn't really on the map like that, and the first community college to adopt the Umoja principles was Chabot College in Hayward. There are currently about 66 affiliated community colleges and universities, but definitely more community colleges. Currently, Umoja serves about 4,000 students annually, and we are able to provide strong data that demonstrates the outcomes in retention, successful graduation rates, transfer rates to HBCUs, UC, CSUs, and private institutions as well. Our mission is to seek and educate the whole student, that is like the body, the mind, the spirit, through the construction of knowledge and critical thought. And I really encourage my students to challenge the material that they're reading, research it. Just don't go for what the professor is, teaching them, and I also try to empower my students and let them know that we can also learn from them. They also bring something to the college environment as well, and that for them to be engaged and be active and be involved. I feel like that's really important to really empower the students through that lens. Additionally, we are dedicated to enhancing the educational experience for all students, and our program is really open to all the students. I have a couple of Latinx students. I have an Asian American student who rocks with me, who visits me. I have students from the LGBTQT community. Excuse me, I just butchered that. But my point is to let you know that I support all students. And this is one of my favorite Umoja African proverbs. And it says, if you want to go quickly, go along. And if you want to go far, go together. And Umoja is really about community building, having that space for students, African-American students. It's really important at the community college level, at all levels, honestly, at all levels. Some of the organizational values that are like statewide from our Umoja community is, students are our highest priority. We just want to make sure that we're there to meet the students' needs and really just promote their success and meet them where they are. Touching the spirit, as I mentioned earlier, using a holistic approach to reach every student through the body, mind, and spirit. I mentioned earlier, building community is so important. I have students who are first-year students, didn't know each other, and because of the Umoja community, they now have established friendships and actually lean on each other and actually encourage each other to, do well and hold each other accountable, which I think is really important. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of our curriculum is connection to the African diaspora. We are big on ethic of love, and that's just embracing each other, embracing the learning community, challenging each other, respectfully doing it. We're really big on culturally relevant pedagogies and practices. For an example, in one of the English classes and sociology classes that I was supporting this fall, they were reading the book, The Hate You Give, and the students were really engaged and really enjoyed learning that material. Some of them just had only seen the movie, but then once they had an opportunity to read the book, it gave them like a different respect for the story. It gave them a different lens to see things. You know, they used the same material in their English class, and like I said, they used it in their sociology class, so they were able to learn it from two separate disciplines, which I think it was pretty amazing. And lastly, the ritual component, and you know, engaging in cultural practices rooted in African traditions, you know, to strengthen the community. So those are the statewide organizational values. The benefits. This is where I come in at, and this is where the students really get to take advantage of the Umoja benefits. First, they get an assigned counselor. That is me. I will be their only counselor for the ones who have mentioned about going to college, and for the ones who don't have the college experience. Let me share with you, it is hard getting a counselor and getting appointments, and just students knowing that they don't have to struggle with getting an appointment 2 weeks out, and having me as their main counselor, you know, that's one less worry. So that is like our number one. We try to really encourage the students like, hey, this is the reason why you want to join this program, because you have an assigned counselor who will see you for your entire time as long as you're at the Anza. We have guaranteed transfer English and GE courses offered during their first year. Our goal is to have the students knock out their golden four in their first year, which is oral communication, critical thought, math, and college composition. And those are sometimes like the barriers for students transferring over to four-year universities. Those are some of the hardest classes to get through. So we set that up for students to knock that out their first year. We work with great instructors. Like I mentioned before, we have, we're big on building community. We have integrated instruction and student services, and integrated instruction, like I mentioned before, how in two classes in two separate disciplines, they were able to use the same curriculum. We have individualized educational planning, personal counseling, academic tutoring, conference and cultural events. And I must say, I was really proud of to attend this college organization for men. It's called A2 Men's. And I was able to talk to my dean, and she was able to get the college to be a sponsor this year. So that was like a real proud moment, because I am connected to a few of the board members who are part of that community. So that felt great, seeing Deanza's name as a donators and contributors. All right. We have any questions or anything so far? No, we're good. Okay. So at Umoja, we really encourage the students to see themselves in a positive historical and cultural content. You know, there's a lot going on in the world, as we know right now, with just on the media, but just the past historical trauma that we've all been through. You know, we try to really encourage the students to see the good, and let's build on that. Let's change that narrative. As I showed you the pictures in my community, you know, my community was plagued by a lot of crime. I mentioned earlier that I feel like there are more people with criminal records. I want to change that. And that's one of the reasons why I went to school. In addition, we encourage the students to value the traditions, the wisdoms, the accomplishments, the suffering, the perseverance of the past. And this also includes seeing other people and ideas with the respect that everyone is due. Through the philosophy, students can seek wisdom, knowledge, culturally connections to build productive personal and you know, community relationships. I've also partnered with another community organization here that I volunteered at. It's called San Francisco 100% College Prep. And we seek to try to help our students of color get to college. And I have, since I'm newly hired, Anza has become one of the landing spots for these students here. So really big on community relationships and giving back too as well. First of all, I just want to explain this picture. This picture really resonated with me. You know, it was a symbol of breaking barriers, breaking through glass. And we all know it's tough to break through glass. You actually probably need a stronger object than a fist, but that picture resonated with me, and that's what I represent, is breaking barriers, changing the narrative, that unity, that uplift. And I just want to share with you all some pictures of the students. These are some of the students in the Summer Bridge program. Look like they're just engaged and paying attention to the presentation. So yeah, just want to show you all. In addition to that, I really believe in meeting the students where they are. And this is that piece where I mentioned earlier that we really have to empower the students and let them know that, hey, we can learn from them as well. I'm sure everyone has a Facebook, but it wasn't until recently that I opened an Instagram page. And I know nothing about Instagram. It's completely foreign, like a new language. I'm almost scared to get too involved in it because of just the security problems. And I know the students are on there too. So, you know, just keeping it respectful. But I let the students know that in one of our meetings, and it was hilarious for them to kind of like laugh at me, but at the same time, offer their support, offer, hey, Mr. Canyon, we'll help you run this Umoja page on the Instagram. So I'm excited that we have social media platforms, because a lot of these students are on here. You know, they're trying to get me to open up a TikTok page. I know nothing about TikTok again, but it's a part of that community building that relationship, being able to relate to the students. And, you know, you have to be able to do that. And this is some information. I was expecting more parents there. So I put the link here to the Umoja, the state Umoja community, because you first have to register through there. I don't know if you all are interested. I can put that in the chat. Excuse me. Okay, I'll get it to you. And then my last slide is, you all have any questions? I have my contact information here. Here is my Anza email. Here is the actual Umoja page where you all can find out more about the Umoja community at Anza, as well as this is the entrance form. I was expecting more parents, so I put this form in here. I was willing to put it in the Google chat if parents wanted their child to learn more information or speak with me one-on-one. And this is just a Google form from them to fill out their information, their email, phone number. Again, I can put it in the chat if folks are interested, or I can get it to Dean Maria. And then again, this is the Umoja State website. So if you all want to get more knowledge about Umoja across the California community colleges, or just learn more about the state organization, this is the link for that as well. How can we build a partnership to, yes, okay.
How do I get you on my campus? That's not
Let me know. Tell me the date when you're available, and I will come there. I will show up. I will bring the BSU members. I will bring my co-advisor as well. In addition to that, we wanted to expand it to all of the students. I'm willing to bring the whole SSRS department up there. It's something that I talked to Miss Maria about, maybe connecting with the College and Career Counseling Center there, and that way we can just put on our entire presentation. If we need to show up in person, we can do so. But if I need to create a program at the Anza, like a mentorship, I'm willing to do that. I think that was a great idea. What Miss Letitia talked about is the BSUs connecting. Absolutely. Because like I mentioned earlier, it'll definitely be a win-win. We can build a community at Homestead. Because I did notice there was a small percentage on your school profile. I did a little research. I looked it up. I think it was about 5%, perhaps even less than that, maybe.
2 to 3% is kind of where we're at. Yeah.
Okay. So I saw that, and absolutely, I'm willing to come by myself if need be, and I'm willing to bring the whole entire SSRS community and bring some students who represent Umoja, who represent BSU, and with my other colleagues as well.